In 1984, Police Academy hit the cinemas, much to the dismay of critics but to the delight of movie audiences, in which, as the poster explains, calls them slobs, call them jerks, call them gross, just don't call them when you're in trouble, as Police Academy tells the story of a group of misfits being accepted as police cadets in order to be trained as police officers, where all manner of comedic shenanigans ensue, as the new recruits of Police Academy have to prove that they have what it takes to be top-notch law enforcement officers in this memorable movie with a comedy lineup cast led by Steve Guttenberg and Kim Cattrall. Cadet Minty reporting for duty, and today I want to talk to you about Police Academy, a movie which, despite its 54% on Rotten Tomatoes, is still a fan favourite and reliable crowd pleaser, as devoted fans can't seem to get enough of this police comedy. So let's celebrate by looking into 10 things that you didn't know about Police Academy. Let's check it out.
So far, nobody's quit.
Number 10. The Wrong Stuff. The inspiration for Police Academy comes from the most interesting of places, the movie The Right Stuff, the drama epic about the real-life exploits of astronauts breaking the boundaries of space exploration. It was while making The Right Stuff that producer Paul Maslansky got the idea for Police Academy, as while filming in San Francisco, he saw a group of police cadets, whom he found to look baffling, as to him many of them didn't look physically able to be police officers due to the body size and age of many of the cadets. When inquiring about the odd ensemble of officers, Maslansky was informed that it was part of a plan by the mayor to broaden the horizon as to who they let join the force. I guess to give the average Joe on the street a chance to be a police officer. It was also explained to Maslansky that often when this happens, although they have to be taken in, they try to, quote, wash them out. Maslansky got an idea of what would happen if these average everyday cadets didn't get washed out but actually made it into the force. Maslansky took his idea to Alan Ladd Jr., believing there was potential for a police comedy, who agreed for his production company to produce the movie, and scriptwriters Neil Israel and Pat Profit wrote the screenplay. Number 9. The director wanted humour over sleaze. Police Academy went with an interesting choice of director, in the form of Hugh Wilson, who at that time had mainly worked on TV shows, and he was chosen to direct Police Academy because a few years prior he created a TV series called WKRP in Cincinnati, which was a show about the exploits of a struggling radio station. However, Wilson had some issues with the script. He found it a little too sleazy, gratuitous, and vulgar. I mean, after all, this was the day and age of comedies like Animal House and Caddyshack. He wanted the movie to feel more relatable and grounded in reality. He wanted the movie's jokes to feel genuinely funny rather than going for cheap gags, so Wilson further worked on the script. There are some scenes that Wilson objected to but still had to leave in the movie as they were necessary for the story's structure. So for those scenes he tried to class them up by making them look more artsy. I find it interesting that Wilson wanted to go more artsy. I mean, after all, this isn't an art house movie, it's frickin' Police Academy. But to be fair, Police Academy already is a pretty raunchy and far out there movie. And that's just the toned down version. So we can only imagine what it was like beforehand. Number 8. Filming location. Although the Police Academy department isn't actually named in Police Academy, I always assumed that it was set somewhere in America. However, like so many other movie productions, Police Academy was actually filmed around Toronto, Canada. In fact, the Academy itself was filmed at a psychiatric hospital. Yeah, who would have thought it? However, since filming, the location is now no longer a psychiatric hospital but is now a college campus. And we can only hope that the students who study there don't get interrupted too much by enthusiastic Police Academy fans visiting the campus. Speaking of Canada, 2 years later in 1986, a Canadian Police Academy ripoff called Recruits came out, which just like Police Academy is an off-the-wall comedy about a group of misfits becoming police officers, in which going by the poster isn't even hiding from the fact that it's riding off the success of Police Academy's popularity. Number 7, one character was written in the last minute. One of the memorable aspects of Police Academy is the Larval Jones character, whose ability to make sounds out of his mouth is truly unique and out of this world, as the actor who played the part, Michael Winslow, had a spectacular ability to make sound effect noises.
God damn it, stop that!
So much so, his talents were even referenced in The Simpsons.
Why do you think I took in all those Police Academy movies? For fun? Well, I didn't hear anybody laughing, did you? Except that guy who made sound effects.
However, the Larval Jones character didn't feature in the original script. He was a late addition added to the movie when a casting director saw Winslow's comedy act routine on stage and then insisted that he be added to the movie, to which thankfully the powers that be agreed, and Police Academy is better for it. Winslow would also go on to play a similar character in fellow 80s comedy movie Spaceballs. Number 6, when a stuntman drinks. Police Academy features a funny scene where the Mahoney character takes Hightower for a driving lesson, to which during his lesson Hightower accidentally rams into another car, where an angry driver starts yelling and screaming before seeing just how big Hightower is and then retreating.
You bastard! You dumb
Well, the part of the angry driver was actually played by the movie's director, Hugh Wilson, as apparently the actor who was originally cast as the irate driver was found in his trailer, passed out and drunk, and clearly unable to film his scene. So Wilson had to take matters into his own hands and perform the part himself. And to give Wilson credit, he actually does have pretty good comedic timing for that brief moment that we see him. Number 5, one character was inspired by a pop star. In Police Academy, actress Marion Ramsey plays the part of Hooks, a shy, timid cadet with a soft, high-pitched voice who is still able to pack a punch and get aggressive when she needs to be.
Please, zip your lips, slap your butts to the seat, listen hard!
The first thing that stands out about the character is her soft-toned, squeaky voice as mentioned. Ramsey took inspiration from none other than Michael Jackson when she was creating her character. She actually took inspiration from one time she actually met the pop star and was struck by his softly spoken high-pitched voice, so she used that for her character's voice. So, in a nutshell, Hook's voice in Police Academy is a parody of Michael Jackson's voice.
I'm sorry, I really am.
Number 4, movie poster intrigue. When it comes to movie posters of the 80s, Drew Struzan was the biggest poster designer of that decade, as he drew up many theatrical posters for many big 80s hits such as Indiana Jones, Blade Runner, The Goonies, Back to the Future, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, First Blood, and The Muppet Show, to name but just a few of his accomplishments. And yes, Struzan also illustrated the movie poster for Police Academy, proving that not only can he illustrate epic movies, but also oddball wacky comedies too, as we get an illustration of what looks like a group photo of the characters from Police Academy, demonstrating each character's quirks. However, oddly in some parts of the world, the movie's poster would see a pair of female legs wearing high heels coming out of the logo. I guess it was going for the Porky's vibe. Struzan would continue to design posters for the series as the sequels would come out, and no matter what you want to say about the sequels, the artwork provided for the posters is nothing short of spectacular. Number 3, music scored by a famed comedy composer. Whenever I think of Police Academy, the first thing that pops into my head is the movie's orchestral, joyful theme. It sounds proud, elegant, and like it's boasting police officers of the highest order, of which contrasts to the actual police cadets themselves, which is part of the gag. It is without a doubt one of the most memorable comedy themes to come out of the 80s, and whenever you hear it, you know some wacky law enforcement shenanigans is going to ensue. The movie was scored by American composer Robert Falk, who actually composed a lot of comedy movies including Bachelor Party, Can't Buy Me Love, Loaded Weapon, and Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, along with, The Neverending Story 2 apparently. Seriously, how random. Okay, but to be fair, he has composed other movies that aren't just comedy ones, such as Toy Soldiers, A Troll in Central Park, Theodore Rex, but still, he composed Police Academy and that's all that matters. Number 2, Police Academy got poor reviews. Despite the fact that Police Academy has become a much-loved comedy movie that everyone looks back on fondly, the movie got pretty bad reviews when it came out. Producer Paul Maslansky said that the initial backlash to the movie was that it wasn't crude and rude enough, and that this type of movie needed more fart jokes, and not to be a more thought-provoking comedy like Tootsie. Which probably harkens back to director Hugh Wilson wanting to tone down the movie's vulgarity in order to make it more realistic. Even Roger Ebert disliked the movie, so much so he famously gave it 0 stars out of 4, claiming that the movie is downright bad.
This movie is not made to be seen by, or maybe even to be reviewed by, adults.
But despite this, the movie opened at number 1 in the box office and made an impressive $149.8 million on a mere $4.1 million budget, proving that despite Ebert's pleas that Police Academy was awful, people were still flocking in droves to see it. And the movie even became that year's most successful movie in West Germany. Comedy, after all, is subjective, so we can only think that when it comes to Police Academy, critics and audiences just weren't on the same frequency. Number 1, casting and directing choices. Before Hugh Wilson took to the director's chair, Dom DeLuise was supposedly going to direct Police Academy, but when it came time to filming, he was just unavailable. Bruce Willis auditioned for the leading part of Mahoney, but nothing came of it. But that doesn't matter, as just 4 years later, he had a skyscraper to save anyway. The first choice for the Mahoney part was supposedly Michael Keaton, but he was also unavailable. But once again, that doesn't matter, as 5 years later, he would dress up as a bat and avenge his parents. Other actors considered for the part include Judge Reinhold and Tom Hanks, but it was Steve Guttenberg who won over the movie's crew, as his father was a real-life New York cop, and Guttenberg turned up in his audition wearing a police officer's shirt. So I guess the use of that shirt impressed, and he landed the memorable role. To which Guttenberg does carry the movie with his charm and timing, and often has that cheeky comedic twinkle in his eye throughout Police Academy. Police Academy is the perfect movie for those who love outrageous comedies. It is very much a product of its time. It takes something as serious as being a police officer and turns it on its head, which I think is a major appeal that people seem to love about it. And it's not hard to see why it has a flock of adoring fans. Anyway, I'm Minty and I'm off to join the Academy. See ya!